even though I work with famous people here a lot, and I'm familiar here in Israel myself, to see JC, we grew up on him,
Yeah,
So,
he's another level. He's like top of the top. He's like of the
yeah,
highest level.
yeah.
Hey guys, today's video is part one in a series of videos I do with Doran. He's going to tell you how he met Jean-Claude Van Damme, what happened. But first we're going to talk about why a movie like Bloodsport, movies like Rocky, why they're so good. Going to get to know Doran a little bit. Check him out, by the way, if you're into automotive stuff. I'll link his YouTube channel and his Instagram below. And let's start off the series by just getting to know him and then seeing how he actually met Van Damme and then some other stuff. If you like this kind of content, please help support the channel by hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing the video. Thanks very much for joining, Doran. You're the biggest influencer in the automotive world in Israel and a filmmaker. But interestingly enough, can you share how you got involved with the stuff that I cover on my channel, like Jean-Claude Van Damme, Frank Dukes, Menachem Golan, etc.?
Yeah, wow, it's a long story. First of all, I'm honored to be on your channel. I watch what you do. Great job. I always find myself, before going to sleep, watching your channel. It's amazing. Great guests, amazing content. Even saw Sheldon on your channel.
Yeah, that was incredible to have him on here.
Very interesting.
Yeah, big time.
Anyway, so I'm a filmmaker. I'm doing this for like more than 20 years. I went to film school, and like you guys, we all grew up on Bloodsport and all those crazy movies that got us, into being dreamers. It doesn't matter if you like martial arts or no. That movie, made you feel like you can dream of anything and achieve it, and it gave us all motivation. Me, you, and all the rest of the kids of the 80s.
The cool thing
Right?
about Bloodsport, like, it transcends martial arts. Like you said, you don't even have to be into martial arts or martial arts. Like, I watched it before I ever got into martial arts, and I loved it. So it's just one of those films that just like transcends the genre. It's great for anybody to watch.
Exactly. I feel the same, and it probably became one of, if not the best martial arts film ever made. You agree?
Yeah, I made a video on why I think it's the greatest martial arts film of all time. So yeah, 100% I agree.
Definitely. I think it has a lot with it's not only JC and the charisma he had and the shape that he was in and everything that he knew how to do. It was Frank Dukes, it was Sheldon, it was the music, the soundtrack. It was David Worth, the director of photography. It was a mix of many talented people who brought this film to be like magnificent.
They cut lightning in a bottle, like all the perfect ingredients, like you mentioned. Van Damme, Dukes, Lettich, David Worth. The soundtrack, like, all just fell into place. And it's one of those films where I'll tell people, okay, so I had like a small-ish budget, right? Didn't like have the biggest budget. It didn't matter though, because you could throw tens of millions of dollars trying to create something as good or better, but it can't be done. And perfect example is for The Quest. Like, they tried throwing all the money at it and recapturing the magic, but for various reasons they just couldn't do it. But we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah. I think that actually the fact that they had a small budget is one of the reasons why it was so good. Because it brought the best out of everybody. JC was trying to make it.
I can do it.
Frank Dukes, I think it was his first film where he brought his life story and whatever it was, and he was choreographing the fight.
Deuce, my man.
And everybody gave their best. They were hungry, and you can see it. And the fighters and everybody, it was a great harmony.
That's what I mentioned. Like, you can't pay somebody to be hungry. You have that hunger or you don't. That's the same thing with Stallone and Rocky.
You can't buy what I'm going to give you. I mean, I've got pain and I've got experience.
I got pain, I've got experience too.
You can't pay somebody to come up with that or have that performance. Like,
Talk about your prime.
What about my prime, Nick? At least you have prime.
That's why these movies, lower budget, Rocky, Bloodsport, even The Karate Kid, are so magnificent.
Exactly, exactly. From since I was a little kid, you know, that film and many other films, JC films and other films, and Stallone and many other films made me want to tell my own stories, you know. So I went to study, I went to law school, and I did so many things in my life, but I always was drawn back to telling my stories. I also like cars, as you see, you know, I'm very into the motorsport scene in Israel and all over the world.
Sure.
And I worked in the film industry for some time. I did visual effects for feature films and TV, and I was directing music videos.
Okay.
And one day, like a few years ago, I decided that I want to make my own channel, you know, and like just like you, what you do with all the martial arts films and everything. I decided to take it to the automotive and motorsport, this subject and this scene. And that's what I'm doing in Israel, and it's like you know. I'm very known here in this area, in this field of automotive and motorsport and racing and street racing.
That's awesome.
And all that. Yeah, and I contacted you. Actually, me and you were talking for some time. I wanted to introduce you a few people that I know that might be very interesting for your channel, and we happened to talk about Friend Dukes and Kamel Krifa, which I met, and JC Van Damme, which I also met, and I've been with him a few times. And we decided that we have a few stories to tell that are very funny, and maybe give our 2 cents on some subjects that are floating in your channel, you know?
Yeah, no, that's great, man. That's why I'm so happy to have you on here, because again, you're like rubbing elbows with these guys, you're hanging out with these guys, and you're going to have unique personal experiences and stories to share, which I'm so happy you're going to do on my channel.
Thank you. Sometimes, you know, it's not regularly. I met JC like 6 or 7 times. I'm sure that Sheldon is much more, you know, close to JC.
Sure.
But I have some funny stories. To be honest, this studio here is the first time that I met JC the first time. I didn't really meet him. It was like a Skype call. I tried to work with Kamel. I know Kamel for many years. Kamel Krifa, you know the guy.
Yeah,
right?
of course. I mean, I know of him. You know, I follow him on Instagram, and I think he knows
very
of
nice
me,
guy.
but we haven't really spoken.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah, sure.
He's a very nice guy. He's also in the film industry. He portrayed Tong Po, and he was in Lionheart and Double Impact and many other movies. He's a you know, childhood friend with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Mm-hmm.
And
just so the audience knows, he portrayed Chong Po in Kickboxer 4.
Not
Kickboxer 1 or 2.
Of course, yeah. The not so good Kickboxer movie.
Yeah. Well, it might have been better than part 5, but yeah, neither one of those ones were that great.
I don't think I even saw any of them. I saw only the first one. I tried to see the second one, and I understood it's not what I thought it was, and I left. Anyway, but Kamel is a very, very nice guy. Very nice guy.
See these? Most of the people he's killed. That's very special.
And somebody introduced us many years ago when we tried to do something together. You know, he tried to mix me for doing visual effects for a production that we're doing, like a co-production from France and America. And we talked a lot. And one day I was sitting here in my studio. I was doing like post-production work for a film. And Kamel was calling me on Skype. And me and him, we already talked, and we knew each other. And he told me, "Hey, I have a friend here wants to say hello." You know. And suddenly he opens the camera on his phone, and I see JC next to him. And I was a little bit starstruck, you know, because come on, even though I work with famous people here a lot, and I'm familiar here in Israel myself, to see JC, you know, we grew up on him, you know.
Yeah, he's another level. He's like top of the top. He's like of the highest level.
Come on, we were little kids. We put the Bloodsport cassette on the VCR like 2,000 times just to see it over and over. Yeah. So we started talking with him, and I was trying to, you know, not to show how excited I was. And he was a very nice guy, but accidentally with me here in this room was my friend from America. His name is Sunny. He came to Israel to visit me. He happened to be here with me because we had a little meeting. And this guy is a businessman, and they opened in America a company. It was called Meat Labs. They tried to do like, this kind of headphones, like Beats, like the Beats headphones, but they had a patent. The headphones, they were like, you could take the, in the headphones, you have the, how do you call it in English? I'm sorry.
The ear pad thing?
The earpads. So the earpads, you could take them apart. It was like some kind of a cool patent, and the company was just, they had investors, and it was supposed to be a big deal. A lot of money was poured inside this venture, and they were just in the beginning of the of the PR and everything to make it big all over the world, in Israel, in America, in Europe, in Japan. Mm-hmm. And the guy was here with me. So while talking to JC, saying hello and all of this, I don't know how I had the headphones next to me, and I don't know, we showed it to him, and he said, "Oh, I go to train. I always take my my headphones with me. Sure. They're always with me." He had Beats on him. So we were talking about, suddenly I find myself talking with Sunny, with my friend, and JC and Kamel, about maybe bringing JC in that venture as a presenter, like being taking a part in that company, and everybody seemed to be very interested, and suddenly from hello it came to, when can we all meet?
Yeah, wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah, in like 1 hour of conversation on Skype. Okay, so me, still starstruck and everything, and oh my God, calling my friends. Oh, I met JC on Skype. We talked and this and that.
Such a cool guy.
Okay, so we had they tried to schedule a meeting in Israel. Kamel wanted to bring JC to Israel to meet me and Sunny. Okay. They wanted us to book a room for JC in Tel Aviv, in one of the most luxurious hotels in Tel Aviv. Of course, and they also wanted us to have a car with 2 bodyguards. A big star, he needs a big star treatment.
Yeah, sure.
So no problem, Sunny is a business guy. No problem if you can get JC, jump aboard. Why not? So we went to the hotel. We booked the room. We had 2 bodyguards. We hired 2 bodyguards. We had a Mercedes, a fancy S600, very fancy car, AMG, crazy car. Wow. We brought it. Everything was set and ready. And at the day that the meeting was supposed to happen, that he was supposed to land in Israel, we went to the airport. We also arranged VIP entrance for him and for the car to go to the plane to take him, so we wouldn't have to go through the airport.
Yeah, sure.
But when we arrived to the airport, we got a cancellation. Kamel called me and said, "Listen, JC didn't feel so well, and I'm sorry, we cannot come." Boom.
That's disappointing.
Oh my God. And imagine me sitting in a situation like this. I made Sunny pay a lot of money to bring the car, the bodyguards,
the hotel, the bodyguards, everything, man. Wow.
It all went to shit. Oh, sorry, but I understood JC. He didn't feel well. It wasn't a lie. He really felt bad. I don't know what happened, but he really couldn't come. They went to the airport and they just came back home. I think they were in Brussels. I'm almost, or Paris or something like that. They came back home, and JC called me like a few days later and told me that he didn't feel good. He had fever and he couldn't get on the plane, and he tried and he said, "Let's try to reschedule, but this time let's meet in Thailand," because he was flying to the Hong Kong Film Festival at that time. It was the year 2015.
Oh, so he was going to be there anyway.
So yeah, so he went to the Hong Kong Film Festival. He was there. He met Jackie Chan over there, and I think there's pictures from that event. And he said, "From Hong Kong, I'm going to come to Phuket, and I'm going to meet you guys in Phuket, in Thailand, and then we can meet and talk and see maybe we can do this thing together." Of course, me as somebody who brought this whole thing up, that JC is going to be in that venture, I was a part of it also. I had a small percentage I was supposed to have. Okay. And we flew.
In the next part, Doran's going to describe what it was like hanging out with Van Damme in Thailand for 2 weeks. They went on some crazy adventures, a lot of fun stuff. And he describes how Van Damme is as a person, not necessarily like the movie star, but as an actual person. So really insightful, cool stuff. You won't want to miss it.